Hi, my name is Brian Caffo, and this is the lecture on Shiny in the Data Products class. This class is co-taught with my collaborators Jeff Leake and Roger Peng. We're all in the Department of Biostatistics at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. Okay, so what is Shiny? Shiny is a platform for creating interactive R programs in a web page. Let's give an example. So your boss comes in and you've created a prediction algorithm, and they want you to put it up in a format so that lots of users can access it, and they don't all have to come to you to get their predictions. They want to be able to point and click them, but you want to be able to do it quickly. You don't want to involve legitimate web development and these other things. So anyway, using Shiny, the time to create simple yet powerful web-based interactive data products in R is minimized. It lacks the flexibility of full-featured and complex solutions where you create a full web interface on from scratch and call servers that you've designed. But on the other hand, the development cost is so small using a tool like Shiny. And anyway, Shiny is made by the fine folks at our studio, which is a product that we really support and highlight in this series. So some mild prerequisites, and since I am not a web developer, maybe I'm not the best person to be teaching this class, but I don't even play a web developer on TV. But let me give you my understanding of the prerequisites. So some mild prerequisites. So Shiny doesn't really require it, but with all web programming, you need to know a little bit of HTML. At the bare minimum, you have to know some HTML, and some a little bit of CSS and JavaScript is certainly going to be helpful to be effective with Shiny. Just a little bit, not much. So if you haven't seen these things before, HTML gives the web page structure and sectioning as well as markup instruction. CSS is the style, and then JavaScript is basically most web pages that have interactivity. It's JavaScript that's giving you the interactivity. So, certainly you wouldn't come to us as PhD statisticians to learn about web development, and there's so many tutorials online that you can get them from so many places. I would hesitate to even recommend one. The Shiny, the style it uses is the so-called Bootstrap style, which has no relation to the statistics Bootstrap, which, as far as I'm concerned, looks nice. And more importantly, I think whenever you develop a little Shiny app, to me it always seems to render nicely on mobile platforms kind of automatically, which is the benefit of using this sort of highly polished style guide platform with Bootstrap. So look it up. I believe it's made by the folks at Twitter. So what else is out there? There's another product that I feel like we have to mention, but it requires if you really want a great solution and you know a lot of web programming, kind of client server type programming, then you can do your own solution in a variety of ways, and with some CGI script type thing. But that's way too in depth for this class, which is focused on people who know R and know some statistics and want to deploy what they're developing quickly. There's also this great project called OpenCPU by a person named Jerome Ooms, it's a great product. It's I think probably more flexible than Shiny, but again it requires much more kind of knowledge of web programming to really be able to implement. Not much, but more. I think, but it's a more flexible platform for doing these sorts of things. He even hosts an open CPU server, but then he also shows you how you can create your own. So let's give the context. You created a novel prediction algorithm to predict risk for diabetes, and you're hoping patients and caregivers will be able to enter their data and, if needed, take preventative measures. and you want to create a website so that users can input the relevant predictors and obtain their prediction. You're a prediction algorithm, okay? So you're not going to win a Nobel Prize for this one. Is you take their glucose level and divide it by 200. And since this is an obviously serious topic, here's a link for a pretty simple but real prediction score for diabetes. But again, I would emphasize about prediction scores, it depends on who the proposed clientele is. The clientele that have been referred to a clinic are going to be different and entering in different values than if you're asking everyone who has the slightest potential idea that they might have diabetes without having seen a caregiver. These two groups would be very different. So anyway, I just want to point out that there's a lot of intricacy in creating prediction algorithms. So let's go through it. Make sure you have a good, nice late release of R installed. If you're on Windows, you got to have R tools installed. You can grab Shiny from CRAN with installed up packages. You got to say library Shiny, which I won't repeat from now on. There's, mostly what I'm going to do in this is go through the tutorial at RStudio, but hopefully in a little bit more didactic and simple way. So basically, we're just going to go through their tutorial. I'm a huge fan of RStudio's manipulate function. Huge fan of it. So often, if you want to do something in Shiny, but you just want to do it for yourself, or you're going to do it for someone else who uses RStudio, manipulate is this awesome, simple little function. It handles so many little tiny nice special cases, and it's I really like it. R charts will be covered in a different lecture for interactive graphics that use some modern JavaScript libraries. So how do you create a Shiny project? You need two parts. One is you need a file named ui.r, and they have to be in the same directory. One, you need a file named ui.r, and one, you need a file named server.r. And we'll show in a minute how you can change. You don't actually need a ui.r function, but for right now you do. So you need those two files. If you have those two files, so here's a minimal ui.r function. You're going to say library Shiny just to make sure that Shiny's loaded. You have the Shiny UI function, and you say page with sidebar, which gives you the page format, and we'll see in a minute. I'm going to give a header that says data science for the win, and a sidebar panel that where I label it with sidebar text so we know where it's at, and then in the main panel I'm going to put main panel.txt. Some important things to note: that the H3 here is just the third level HTML heading. So I'm just saying I want this. Basically what Shiny is going to do is it's going to translate this into the third level HTML heading on the fly for you. So it's going to be that size. So, and it's hopefully the notation is clear. H1 will give you H1 heading, H2 will give you H2 heading, and so on. P will give you the P will give you P will give you that guy, and so on. And then my server.r, it's going to do nothing, but I just need this function Shiny server. It takes input and output and returns, in this case, null. Okay. To run it, you change into the directories with these files and type run app, or you can put the path as an argument, and it should open a browser window with the app running. So here's kind of what it would look like. It's chopping off part of the main panel just to make it fit on the page for me here when I cropped it as an image. But here's, it renders the text, hello Shiny. Here's sidebar.